When it comes to vaccines, we're talking about a product that is given to perfectly healthy children. And by the way, without their choice in many circumstances, a product that's being forced upon us more and more. This is about as far as I've seen it go so far. Check out, this was in the news yesterday.
Santa Rosa School District has suspended a student vaccination program. That decision comes as more parents are complaining their children receive flu shots without their consent.
Crystal Simmons says she made it clear on the form.
I also wrote, like, in capital letters with stars, "Do not give my child the flu shot," and I signed my name at the bottom of it.
But it still happened.
She had a whelp on her arm, and she told me that she got the flu shot, and she told the lady no, that she wasn't supposed to, and they gave it to her anyways.
A similar situation happened to Charity Covan.
I didn't even sign the paper. I didn't sign it. I didn't send it back. I just got it out of my truck, actually. So the fact that he got the vaccine, which I didn't want him to have anyway, kind of angers me because he's still throwing up as of yesterday.
Flu shots can have side effects, but pediatrician Dr. Pamela Michelle Grier-Hall says people should get them.
And last year was one of the worst flu seasons we've seen in a very long time. We're hoping that this flu season is not as bad, but we're encouraging all parents for those children 6 months and up to get their children vaccinated against the flu because it can actually save your child's life.
She says consent is mandatory.
When we give a consent form, at least here at our office, it's a consent form to the vaccine. And when the parent reads it, they're actually consenting when they sign at the bottom. And I think there might have been just a misunderstanding or some confusion if there was only a yes box in that line to sign.
Christine Ganelli, the National Nurse Manager for Healthy Schools, says their program provides the nurses and vaccines.
Any child whose parent has filled out the form and signed it, given us consent, then we'll vaccinate those students.
Healthy Schools said in a previous statement, quote, "We were made aware that a small number of students submitted signed consent forms with conflicting consent information." But Ganelli says it's up to the nurse.
So a nurse will look at these forms and, they use their judgment. There could be various reasons why people add things, to it. But if we see a signature of a parent, then, that verifies consent for us.
For all you parents out there that think that signing anything means anything at all in this country, you now know it doesn't. Think about this little girl that the mother had standing with her. She's at school. The mother's obviously open with her child and talks about what's going on in her life and her health and has told her, we don't want you getting the flu shot. So she's sitting there saying, no, my mommy says I'm not supposed to get this. My mom, I know she signed a thing, and the nurse says, I don't care, and injects her anyway. Think about this in terms of what's happening right now today. While I was driving into the studio in my car, Brett Kavanaugh is being investigated because a woman, a psychologist, has come forward and saying that she was held down and put through a traumatic experience that has forever changed her life. Here a little girl is saying no. The words meaning no, not just maybe, saying no. And instead this nurse penetrates her body, injects her with fluids and poisons and toxins against her will, against her mother's will, and nobody seems to care how that's going to affect this little girl.
My name is Mary Holland. I'm a research scholar at New York University School of Law. I direct a program for foreign lawyers on basic American law skills. I've clerked in a federal court. I've worked for an international human rights organization. I practice international transactional law. In the past several years, I've written several law review articles and co-edited and co-authored a book on vaccines. This bill will be coercive, and parents will be vaccinating their children under duress, invalidating any notion of informed consent. In employment, lack of consent is forced labor. In military service, it's conscription. In contracts, it leads to invalid contracts. In intimate relations, it's called rape. And in medical treatment, it's battery.